All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in the Olimoleague. It's the other semifinals, and we got to give some love to Bovine Intervention for that 15-month resub.
Ooh.
Thank you so much for being the secret count level to our BaseTradeTV. But spawning in the upper left side of Arena, it is going to be none other than TCM's Blue Zerg, a very regular player in the Olimoleague, Soulkey.
In the bottom left, as the Red Terran, it's Reality.
Chris Reality used to be a fairly frequent player to the Olimoleague. I actually really miss the days of the early Legacy of the Void Olimoleague because it always came down to what felt like at some point, whether it was the semifinals or the finals, Reality versus Beyond. And it was this really cool back and forth because these were the two players that were unstoppable and they could only be killed by each other type thing. It was really cool. But then Beyond stopped playing, and Reality stopped playing, and they started playing more of the bigger Kespa thing. So it's really nice to see Reality play again, and more importantly, just kind of ease his way here to the semifinals.
Yeah. Of course, Soulkey was the third guy in that, so he's either waiting in the finals or the other semifinals to be knocked out by one of the two Terrans. But he never stopped playing the Olimoleague, and for that reason alone, I guess we should appreciate him. But also, he's like a really good Zerg and all that, and it's just too bad that he wasn't able to perform as well as he would have hoped in SSL and GSL. But here you're going to give this to... Who's going to go on to face True?
I think actually Soulkey probably has the better chance, just because of the fact that he's got the Orena for the start of this. But... depends if Reality, I think if Reality does the tank push that abuses this position here and wins the first game, I think Reality takes the series. But I think Orena is such a good start for Soulkey, and two players who could go evenly like this, I really do feel like this first map makes a pretty big difference.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I'm going to say I think it's better for Soulkey, but I'm going to root for Reality because I want a TVZ Grand Finals.
I really want to see what Reality's form is right now, like today. Like in general, he's pretty good. We know that, but you know, what's he feeling like today? As Soulkey is, you know, we saw him already. We know that he's been doing fine. Reality obviously got to this point, so he's doing okay. But what does he look like against such a caliber player as Soulkey? Now I spoke about the map and how like Soulkey might be having some advantage here, but not throwing down anything suspicious so far. Getting 2 extra queens is like the start of something suspicious, but only if we see an Evo chamber. And of course that Ling queen drop that is so effective. There's also the Roach Ravager push that he could have done, but as we see more drones in the way, it is going to be a macro game.
I actually kind of forgot about the queen drops because it's been so long since we've seen them, but they were so prominent for so long. And Soulkey was definitely one of the guys willing to go for them.
Yeah, thank you, Astro Archer, I believe.
Oh, Astro Archer resub. Hype.
Yeah, for that 2-month resub. So now that there's nothing happening for the Zerg in the early game, I do tend to give this to the Terran for those tank pushes that you mentioned, just because it is such an abusive position. Reality's going for the Widowmine first, which seems to be like an improvement upon the tank opener. Just it used to be you always went for the tank first and foremost, but now they're adding in a Widowmine to give you a little bit of pressure. And then followed up by it, but oh no, just swaps over. Yeah, so no tanks whatsoever, and I guess we are gonna see like an actual macro game.
Maybe
on Arena.
The Liberator is certainly an interesting aspect to see pushed out so quickly, but I'm not sure how he plans to. I mean, Arena's not a great map for Liberators. It's at least for when it comes to harassment, it's a great map for engagement Liberators. But Widowmine does get a decent shot, only kills nothing though. Sad to say.
Yeah. And it gets that queen low, but unfortunately the Marines and the medevac do go down. But it being more important. I mean, it doesn't have to come back home to help out with a tank like what we usually see on Arena, but it's still like the medevac is something you want to keep alive.
I mean, it was 1 medevac, 6 Marines, and a Widowmine for 1 Zergling. That was the trade-off. Like, that was such a bad attack for Reality.
It was pretty terrible. But Reality's going for a macro build, and in 3 minutes, that won't make as much of a difference as it looks like right now. If he was being attacked, then oh god, like those Marines are super important, and he might just lose. But Soulkey's only breaking down the rocks and opening up more pathways and opportunities for the future as he goes into his lair. And I'm guessing that's going to be for Aspire. Might transition out into Roaches after that. We just can't be sure until we really see the Roach one go down or the upgrade start on Evolution Chambers that have not been put down yet. Up there. The Liberator is not looking to sacrifice itself after having lost the medevac so easily. I guess just be very careful. I mean, there's queens in the main, there's a spore crawler in the main. What was Liberator really going to do? So it's now just a fancy Viking.
Yeah, just a very weak fancy Viking. Unless it finds like 7 overlords clumped up for no reason here in the top right. But
yeah.
I think one of the best things this could really do is make sure to get eyes on timings for things now. For Reality, as sad as it is to say, kind of turning into a bit of an Oracle Scout. Just, Yu's lost its killing potential.
It's all about scouting, too, yeah. I mean, seeing the Baneling Nest.
Well, hopefully sees the Spire in the main as he ventures on back that way. I think it's going to be Mutalisk, but of course it's knowing the timing of the Mutalisks that matters most. The Depot's a bit of a cute move, but of course Soulkey did knock the rocks down. Did Reality see that? Okay, he knows the rocks are gone.
I think seeing the Baneling Nest, so you gotta confirm that it's a Spire, but right, like what time, but it's seeing the third base as well, you know that's not gonna be the quickest. So an attack like this, which would sometimes be risky, like what if the mutas were actually on their way out and already out? Like that would have been very risky to just depend on being able to escape like that. But the mutas are only just not going to be started, not gonna be that many of them either, only 3, maybe 4, as a lot of the gas minerals have gone into all the other upgrades. I mean, there's so many different versions of a Muta opener. There's 2-base Muta, there's 3-base Muta before upgrades, then there's this, which is very macro-oriented, Like, you're going to have a good drone count, and the Mutas are probably already going to be countered by a couple missile turrets, but they're still worth having.
This 1-1 so close to finishing for that fight. Has to pick up and back off. Of course, unloading these is not preferable on this side. This unloads them straight into the Baneling, so he's got to pre-split some of these Marines. Depots drop. These might soak up about 6 of them, but, the depots are down on the top side. A little bit awkward as he does knock down that bunker. SCV should be fine. They can take a Baneling hit. This is just the wall and mostly cosmetic damage. This wasn't too bad. Liberator does sneak back up here on the north side, but is quickly killed by the Mutalisks. And while this goes on, Reality just kind of rallies his forces up. Both players feeling that supply burn, but of course Reality is the one supply blocked.
Ew.
But he's got a really nice army supply going for him. And Soulkey doesn't have that many Banelings. They're only just morphing in. Frankly, this attack, if it gets over here now, could still focus fire a lot of these Banelings now before they hatch.
That attack, hindsight 2020 does seem questionable now that Soulkey has barely anything to defend against it. He does have Creep Shred on his side and an okay amount of Banelings to buy more time for, more Banelings, but it's also a very short rush distance, so Reality is just reinforcing across the map, and this could be game over, especially if this Widowmine gets a decent hit. 2 more Widowmines join, it's already pre-split. I think Reality has this.
Yeah, I mean, if any amount of Marines live, they'll take on the Mutas, as we can see. Start pushing this back. A couple more Banelings trying to finish up. Gets to the natural mineral line. Finally starts chipping away at that drone count. Widowmines pop off on the Mutas. Now they're too low to engage. If they do come in, they're going to die. A line of dead corpses for drones lines what was once here for mining. And this is not looking good for Soulkey. Reality, I gotta say, like, for such a messy, terrible start, losing that medevac like that, no damage being done. I really thought he was going to be in trouble from the get-go, but he has made this look easy.
2 questionable things in my opinion, which, one, going from Mutilating Bling in general, like, 2 base layer openers into roaches, I think is, like, the way to go, but I'm not a professional Zerg player. But Mutilating Bling usually thrives off of having time to actually, first of all, get to a high larva count, so like a macro hatchery as well, but also time to cover up mistakes such as over-dedicating to an attack, which was the second mistake Soulkey did in using those Lings and Banelings to attack like that. Like, we all saw an opportunity. Soulkey saw an opportunity to kill a bunch of SCVs. That's why he dedicated to Lings and Banelings, but it just didn't work out. And that counterattack was so immediate.
Yeah. Nice start to the series here for Reality. He will take a 1-0 lead versus Soulkey. Oh, excuse me. We're going to pop to a small break, guys. Sorry, I need to adjust something here on the computer, but we'll get game number 2 up ASAP. We'll see you soon. All right, game number 2 for the semifinals currently underway. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. We are in the bottom left side of Runes of Andion with the Blue Zerg. It is TCM's Soulkey.
In the bottom right, as the Red Terran, it is Reality.
Of course, Reality is currently leading 1-0 versus his opponents.
So it is Soulkey's map choice. Whenever someone tells me ruins, I'm like, Princess Ross isn't in the map pool
Sarah's?
anymore.
Yeah.
It always gets me. Why would they do that? Why?
And just quick shout out, I love all these Vape Nation jokes and references in chat. Just clarifying, because I feel like the unnecessary need to. I don't actually smoke anything, guys, and I actually was trying to fix something with my computer during the break. So even if I did, I would not stop the broadcast for commercial break to go take a smoke. That's just so many levels of stupid. Like, not okay. So I don't love being accused of that.
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever been accused.
As Runes of Andeon, though, we've only, I feel, gotten to see ZvZs on maps like this. We saw the Protoss game earlier, and that's a little bit different. But what's kind of interesting was, A, that this was a loser's map choice, but second, that these rocks have really been playing into really stranger fashions. Now, this, again, for somebody like Soulkey, if he knocks the rocks down of either him or his opponent, it buys him time, he gets to play a little more passive. But is that necessarily what you want versus Terran? Because they're still going to be able to drop you. They can still run Reapers across the middle of the map, as we can see. Of course, this stupid face.
Yeah. I was curious as well. You know, when the versus Protoss, I talked about how it's also similar in versus Zerg. Like an early pool, it's not that it has no drawbacks, but being able to break down your opponent's rocks and then your rocks means that an early pool has a lot more time to recover, especially if it doesn't work. But against a Terran, that's not usually it's not the same thing. Like if you early pool a Terran, you're usually hoping to bypass the Reaper and surprise them, so the Reaper has to come all the way back home. But
yeah.
I mean, that's way different than what you do versus Zerg and Protoss. So I didn't expect an early pool, but if there was one, I would have been interested to see like what would have happened afterwards. But I think you're right. Like, I mean, so much of Terran right now is based off of tech, getting to medevacs, what am I drop, tank drops, tank pushes. Like, it would not have been worth it. So in terms of just a macro game, I don't really know what to say about this map in ZvT. So it's very interesting that Soulkey chose this over, for instance, Dusk Towers, which is what everyone else has been choosing as the follow-up map.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this, too, we discussed. We've been seeing this ever since forever that we've been casting StarCraft. When it's a new season, even if you're like a month into the new season, everyone still favors the maps that they've been playing for the last like 5 or 6 months. So things like Dusk Towers want to seem a little bit more intuitive. Reality is when he actually knocks down his rock tower. I was kind of expecting it to be the other way around, but still does delay the push from Soulkey's Lings. Now the problem for this does lead, where does he take these Lings next? And he's going to actually try and break down the back rocks and go through the backside. It's really interesting. Zelnaga Tower here, by the way, forgot to mention, can only be taken if you drop something on it. So a little bit of a Terran advantage tower. Maybe Reality takes it on the way back home. But he's going to come across the map with the medevac, and Soulkey's Lings are out of position for this. In fact,
yes,
does he have vision? Okay, Soulkey's Overlord coverage will see this coming.
A little bit late. The Ling's still attacking those rocks. Reaper goes into the natural, gets, I guess, a secondary scout, maybe a grenade or two. It's 5 drones right off the bat. Attacking an Overlord, so gets an Overlord as well. And might be able to get a couple Lings on the backside, but should just be able, should just pick up.
Yeah, the Woodwine pop was pretty nice. When the Spore Crawler completes, I think the Woodwine still might get another shot off. We'll see. It's going to be kind of close for timing. Drops off in the natural, looking for some more kills, but not a lot more to be had. No Woodwine.
Oh, yeah, and he knows it too. Okay, so one more drone, maybe 2, depending on how they stack up, or the larva.
Yeah, actually, larva's not a bad choice.
Did it actually get anything though? I thought it was just eggs.
I think he got 2 kills. Yeah.
Oh,
no,
okay.
You're right. They actually killed nothing. It's garbage.
Okay. Well, the Liberator can definitely take out eggs, so could have gotten that last drone. But he's just gonna move away from the Spore Crawler. And this so far is a really good harassment. And the best thing is that Reality does not have to worry about a counterattack. He broke down his rocks. He's got the 3rd base on location. And, he knows his own mutas. He's getting scouting in the main base. He sees a lair timing, which, I mean, when you consider that lair has been done for a while and Sonos Spire, finally it goes down, this harass has done more than kill drones. And killing drones was great to begin with. It's also just entirely put off Soulkey's build.
Yeah. I think for what is unfortunately here for Reality, though, is we see the Liberator doesn't have a great spot. I think a lot of these new maps were designed with the idea they didn't want to leave a bunch of dead space in the back. So, like, you can abuse the Liberator a little bit on this map, but not the natural. And I guess maybe at the 3rd, depending on the angle of attack you approach with. But either way, the Liberator is removed from the equation. Back at home, double upgrades have begun, and about halfway finished for that 1-1. if Soulkey is looking to go straight to mutas, he's going to be doing with it without very upgraded ground forces, so that's a little bit concerning for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this entire game is a little bit concerning. That harassment did too much damage. Not game-ending, but too much. And considering that he wanted to go for a fairly quick Spire, you know, he got the Spire before upgrades or a Baneling Nest, the fact that Medivacs, like, have done so much damage is, you know, not ideal. And hopefully no more damage is had to be had because, well, Medivacs are on the way again, and Mutas still aren't out, and neither are Banelings. So 2 Medivacs, full of Marines, and 4 Mutas.
Yeah, there's really just not a lot of pushback for this, and Soulkey, I think, is going to realize this. Bit of panic going to ensue. These Lings are not going to be upgraded enough to really take on the Marines if they get to the mineral lines. He's going to focus down the Spire, maybe. Not a terrible choice. Chances go into it, but it's not going to save it, and he's going to lose that Spire. Cost of a couple Marines, not too bad for reality. Meanwhile, attacks the third simultaneously, so driving off drones on this side. And Soulkey, man, like, first of all, I'm glad reality's winning, but secondly, I didn't expect him to lose like this.
Yeah. Well, certainly the map choice hasn't worked out for him. Usually you would want your loser's choice to at least have the beginning look a little bit better, but
this is
the beginning looked terrible.
I love it. He could have torn down these rocks and gone through the front and had to possibly torn down more rocks, but instead he goes through the back side of this.
Those eyes have become cheeks now.
Yeah, now it's just got really long. It's like a Jar Jar Binks eyeball setup now. Oh,
well,
God.
yeah,
it
but
just
like
went from
the ramps
Ewok
look
to Jar
like
Jar Binks.
Okay. Okay, this is not exactly abusive because it's not in range of anything, but it does cover your Marines a little bit.
Oh, it can reach the ramp. That's something worth reaching.
Okay, then yes, that's still pretty damn good then.
Yeah, last couple of Banelings get popped. Link's gonna rush in. The Medivacs actually aren't over here to cover this, but quickly boost back to pick him up, put him on the high ground. This is not gonna work. Soulkey's dead.
Yes, he is. Reality played a very good game. GG.
And that will carry Reality through straight to the finals, where he'll fight against True in a best of 5 for hopefully another very great game. But damn, savage. All right, we're gonna go to break, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in 2 minutes with the grand finals hopefully ready to go when we return.